You got your candle, man. You got your candle ready to go.
I got my cinnamon chai.
Let's see what you got, man. What kind
I
of
got
candle
my
you got,
trilogy, cinnamon chai, ground cinnamon, spice rum. But it's got the crackle on it, the little wood crackling.
Oh, look at you, all fancy.
That's all right, man. For those of you who don't know, the Sonic Healer is here.
The Sonic Healer.
That's right.
Stokely.
Stokely.
What up, y'all?
The man.
What's happening?
Yeah, he be Stokely. That's what he be doing. Hey, welcome everybody to Jam and Lewis. Just listen. And we couldn't be more proud of this brother, more honored to have him. We've had a beautiful 35 or so year journey with him, 30-year journey officially since his very first record on Perspective Records back in the day. And I know we always talk about Sounds of Blackness, which was the first album that we actually released on Perspective Records. But what people may not know is that Mint Condition was actually the first group we signed to Perspective, although their record came out second. So this goes back to the very core and the very roots of where Terry and I began our label mogul life. And so we couldn't be more honored to have Stokely on. The cool thing is, in the sense of, what have you done for me lately? Well, lately is coming in about 3 hours from now. Lately happens. And lately in this case is Stokely's brand new album entitled Sankofa. This album is an amazing piece of work that talks about looking back to move forward, which we all need to do. We all need to reflect and see where we came from to know where we're going forward. And this album is basically the musical soundtrack of anybody's life that is going through that. And that's it, man. I can't express any more how proud we are of you and how happy we are for you to finally have this record coming after all this time with three, a #1 record, the 3 top 10 singles already from this record before it even hits. And so how cool is that, man? I mean, come on.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Talk to him now, Stokely. Come on.
Hey, it's a blessing, and I thank you all. I've told you all many times, man, how special this is, and I've always said that this is just divine. This has already been written. I'm just walking in it. All these opportunities just continue, and I'm just so grateful. Got so much gratitude for everything that you all have done, everything that you all do, not just for me, but for just human beings. You know what I mean? You know of you and everything that you've spread. And what you've done for me and the fellas, and what's happening with me right now, it couldn't be much sweeter. This is amazing. So yeah, I'm really excited, man.
So man, listen, this is no. Go ahead, T. Go ahead, T. Sorry.
No, I just said we're proud to be a part, man. Like your family always have been.
Yeah.
A lot of times I tell people, because they look at you as just a musician, but certainly the man is a superior human being. Like he is like an incredible human being.
Thank you.
And he comes from great stock. And I just want people to know a little bit more about Stokely the man, because then they will understand the depth of the breadth of music that you create and why you do such a thing. So I just want you to kind of explain to people a little bit about your upbringing, where you come from, how you learned to be the drummer that you are, that whole thing, man. It's a wonderful story.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. In the beginning, my parents are both educators, and so education was heavily stressed in the household. And they saw something in me, a spark, when I was very young, 2 or 3, and they had already been going back and forth to Africa, trading clothes and that kind of thing. And back then, both my parents were involved in the movement, so I'm a revolutionary kid. And I grew up with all these continental Africans in the house and all these different foods and different styles of clothing and hearing all these different languages. That was just a part of my life very early on. And they recognized that I had a gift early, and I was able to hook up with some. I had early training in African dance, troops, and chants, and that kind of thing. So the heartbeat, the drum runs. That's that's the instrument that I really claim. Everything else, I'm enough to. I can play it good enough to be dangerous. I guess that's about it. I leave all the real keyboard stuff, the jam and the real bass playing, Terry, and real players. But they saw this gift in me very early, and what's that?
I said players for real.
Players for real. Players for real. Yeah, they saw this gift in me very early, and they just really cultivated as parents do. They see something, oh wow, and they had some friends. Had a friend from Panama who had this group called Abadinga. It was a group of dancers and singers, and they did a lot of these songs from spiritual songs from the continent of Africa. And so I was involved in that. My first gig was a place called First National Bank in Minneapolis. Standing on these steel chairs playing conga, because the conga was bigger than me. So, and the caption at the time was big drum, tiny drum. I still have the clipping. And, from there, it was went on with another group. It's called Black Arts Midwest Drummers. And it was a place in St. Paul called the Inner City Youth League. I don't know, you may know, I remember that, Terry Jam, where the group Cohesion used to rehearse down there, St. Paul group, I believe.
Cohesion.
And yeah. Do you remember some of the music? Wow.
I remember Cohesion.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I remember Cohesion.
Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Everything.
Yeah, so they were. That's great. Had a theme song, right? All original themes. Yeah. Yeah. So I was involved in that. It's a place where young kids would go and you actually would learn martial arts, boxing, art. They had a recording studio in the basement. Like I said, Black Arts Midwest, we did a lot of, chants, and I played for a lot of poets and things like that. So I was very very steeped in, all the Africanisms and all the stuff that, African wanted to feel closer to the culture. We were changing our names, wearing our hair natural, that kind of thing. So I'm pretty much from that era, that vibe. And so I carry that thread with me of all the modern music that I've been involved with. I've been in tons of bands, different, name a genre, I played it. And I've always tried to make it. Matter of fact, I would try to play with the corniest band to see how funky I can make it. It's like, it was always interesting. Somebody in the band would always say, wow, I've never felt that. I just felt like I got a little jiggle in me. Something. I was like, all right, I did my job. You know what I mean? So all these things that were just a part of me, this was part of my story, part of my journey. And with this whole Sankofa release, it's just a culmination of all that. And it's wrapped in this Sankofa, all these Africanisms. You can hear the heartbeat of the drum and all of the percussion instruments, anything that's related to the continent, all through there. It's kind of like a motif. You hear that. And all the other things, like genres of Black music that we've created here, I pretty much flirt in between all of that stuff. It's like, I can't help it. It's just part of, who I am. It's the stuff that I love, from gospel to jazz to blues to hip hop, the bebop, all of it. It's just like, I embrace it all and just try to, fuse it into everything that I'm feeling at the moment. So that's why when you hear this CD, you're like, why is he doing that? Why is it not one thing? It can't be one thing. It's like, I'm a part of a rich heritage, rich culture, So and we all, as Black folks, is why you all do what you do. You have a plethora of hits, a plethora of some of our influences fused together. A lot of the bands of the 70s, we just wanted to be like them. Ohio Players and Earth, Wind and Fire, P-Funk, all these people that we all emulated until we found our own sound. I mean, that's right, the P. And that's kind of the beginning. That's my work, I should say, the roots of it. And from there, just everything, keeping my ear to the street while keeping the integrity of who I am, and anybody who I'm around. I just bring all that with me. So that was my role in the group. I was with Mint. I looked at myself as the utility guy, whatever needed to be done. Because everybody had their specialties. Sometimes if I, thought there was another song, we need one more little thing here. even though we'd all agreed, I tried to scramble it together, you know, with the help of everybody else. And yeah, that was a university for me. So with that, you know, I springboarded off to what I'm doing now, you know.
You know, it's interesting to me because I think that, and I feel this way about Terry and myself, is being in a band is the ultimate collaboration, because you have to figure out, you know, you have your ideas, but you have to figure out how to communicate them with people, get everybody on the same page, and then all work together. And I think being in Flight Time originally, then of course the Time really shaped a lot of the decision-making things that Terry and I do in collaboration with people. I think, do you ever look at it like that being part of Mint Condition for such a long time, because you're still very collaborative, and even besides the collaborations on, you know, the album that you did on Sankofa, but even the work that you do outside of that, whether it's, you know, with, you know, all the other musicians that absolutely love to work with you. Do you feel like that was, you know, when you say school or whatever, that what a great training ground I think that that was for you to figure that out?
Absolutely. I feel the same way as you. It's Mint University. It's in all the other groups that came before that and in between. Absolutely. You know, because it's what you're dealing with is just, you know, different degrees of human behavior. You know, trying to bring those different energies and different experiences. Too much, too little, when push, when to pull back, you know, what to say, all these little nuances of relationships, learning how to communicate, you know, and artists are sensitive. We're sensitive about, you know, as Erica says, I'm an artist, I'm sensitive about my shit. You know, we all feel that way, you know. So, you know, we try to, you know, meld it together. We figure out how to compromise, and it's, you know, you're trying to be as democratic as possible while trying to move forward, because sometimes democracy can stifles and something has to move forward. Where everybody can't just be sitting there just, yeah, I agree. Go, okay, what are we gonna do move forward? Who's gonna do that? And we all have that at different you know, times of, you know, career with Mint. So yeah, different functions, but it definitely helped shape me in the way that I deal now. And that's, you know, everything's collaborative, whether you are solo or not. You're always working with somebody. You need a team of people, you know. So that is a great space to be all the time, you know, to be forced. I know folks who work with themselves, and it's really hard for them to work with other people. And it's like, at some point, you're going to have to work with somebody somehow, somewhere. It's not just going to be you all the time. So really, that is a great training ground, just to learn how to deal with folks, learn how to deal with adversity, somebody who doesn't think like you, but you're trying to get the same goal. You know what I mean? So it's really important. Yeah, for sure.
No, it's definitely a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like they got a little background on you musically, just where you come from, but you developed another toy, another tool in your tool belt as you musicianed yourself along. That voice, man, your vocal ability is like extraordinary.
Yeah.
Like,
thank you, man.
How did that come about? Like, where did you get blessed with that, man? God just like gave you a gift that He just wasn't handing out no more. It's like you got it done.
I say that has to be divine, because, you know, I think I was always kind of a jokester in my family, trying to mimic my aunts and uncles and the way they say, hey, give me a kiss, baby. You know, any little thing that somebody was doing, just making fun of them, that kind of thing, and they, you know, make the family laugh and that kind of thing. So I was very sensitive to tone, you know, and so the guy who did it for me vocally was Al Green, because he was 15 or 20 different people inside one. He'd be low, and then I was like, what? So I would mimic him all day, all the time. But I wasn't really thinking about, I'm going to be a singer. I was just doing it as kids do, play around and, you know, that kind of thing. I really didn't realize what it was that I had until high school, probably. You know, I was always messing around, and I would sing a little background with any group that I would play with. But recording studio in the high school, St. Paul Central, where I met Odell and Jeff. And so that was the first time, you know, there were two different classes. Let me explain that. So one was where the teacher would put you with other musicians who weren't like you. So, you know, the R&B guys, you put them with the rock guys. It's like, just figure it out. you know, because you already know what it sounds like if you have an R&B group, all the brothers want to be together and have that sound. He was like, no, we need to mix it up and that kind of thing. And then there's also the technical side where you put, you know, pushing buttons and learning the technical aspect of recording. Well, I wanted that class just so I could learn how to record and that kind of thing. And so, which is what I did. So the Tascam 688 was my friend for a long time with the Roland JX3P and a 808 and a 909. So those three things is what I, you know, learned. And the first time I started stacking vocals and everything, it was the first time I met myself. Like that. That was, wow. That's what I sound like. That's that's funny. Wow. You know, I would listen to it over and over, and and the first person who really encouraged me was Odell from it. He was like, man, nobody's ever done anything that great like that in here. So kudos to him, man. I mean, he really supported and really made me feel like, okay, this is something that maybe I'll just continue to do. I just kept playing with it. And but I was still, however, in these groups, and I was singing background and that kind of thing. And sometimes people would notice, and I got a pretty decent voice back then, you know. And so that is pretty much how it happened, just by mimicking people and mimicking whatever I heard, you know. And it just became, here I am now, signed to Perspective Records.
Man, hey.
Man.
I should start singing some Al Green then. I might find myself.
That's right. Find yourself, man. Oh, please, man. You didn't find yourself and then some.
Right. I'm gonna find myself. Hey, Stoke. Hey, lock down that cord on your microphone.
Oh, is it? Okay?
Bouncing around.
We got some.
Okay.
They said some people in the comments are saying they're on Woke with Stoke. They're gonna get you after this.
All right, sorry about that.
About your sound.
Sorry about that. Yeah, they be clowning me on the sound, man. How's that? Okay.
Just knock it down so it don't.
You're so fancy.
Like there we go. I just got this. I got this for y'all because you know I was trying to.
All right.
Try to keep it together. How's that?
Sound check. Sound check for
check 1 2 3 2 1.
Yeah, we can still kind of hear it. I'm not sure what it is exactly. Let's see. Oh, it's quiet right now.
Okay.
Right now. Okay. I think we're good.
I'll be still like this.
It's sound check. They're letting us know in the comments. They will definitely let us know what's up. So It's all good. It's all good.
That is what you hear. Okay.
Whatever that is right there. It just sounds like something's rubbing against it, sort of.
Wow.
I don't know what it is. That's okay.
Maybe I just need to go with no I don't know.
See, that's what happens. That's like the old days when you wouldn't get a sound check and you just had to figure it out during the show.
This is true.
We take it up to the real day because that's what it was like, man.
This is, and sometimes still it's like, you know, it's running late, it's gonna cut your time, and there's no sound check. Go.
Yep, exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask a couple of the questions that we're getting just in the chat and stuff. Tower Light Records on Instagram says, how many instruments does Stokely play? How many instruments do you play, Stokely?
I don't know. I've never really counted, you know. I think whatever I encounter, I at least got one or two songs in me, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, all the percussion instruments, you know, a little bit of bass and drums, and a little bit of bass and guitar and keys, and horn. I could eke out a couple of things depending on which one it is. I can't play trombone, but trombone's my favorite horn.
Wow.
You know, I'm always mimicking that, and that's just something about the tonality of that. It's just really warm, and you know what I mean. It's something in the way it slides, and it's got a lot of expression. You know, Fred Wesley, yeah, man, the king. Yeah.
I just remember the first time hearing was it Doing It to Death that had that solo that started. I was like, I never thought of a trombone like funky. And when I heard that, I was like, "Oh,
right,
yeah, right,
yeah, man,
that was like, man,
oh my God, that was it. You heard that, you couldn't help but move, you know, Yeah,
That's
man.
right.
So yeah, I don't know how many. It's yeah, I don't know. You know, it's just the main stuff is the drums and the percussion, and you know, a little bit of keys, bass, guitar, and whatever. I don't know. Play a little bit of harmonica. That is I definitely respect that instrument. The one that Steve played, the chromatic, with the chromatic. That's a beast. Yeah.
Wait. But you play the pans, man. Like
Still
few
yeah.
folks in the whole wide world play the
Yeah.
pans. Like that's
Yeah, I mean,
that's incredible. Maybe
yeah,
playing it on the keyboard or something.
right.
Actually,
Right. It's a
And
keyboard
again,
pad.
yes, it's a real people has asked me. So that was a high school central thing too. That's all. Rest in peace for Cliff Alexis Sr. He was a mentor of mine, definitely. He helped, but little shine I have, he helped polish me off a little bit, you know, with theory. And he was just really, I call him my second father, because he definitely helped raise me too. And yeah, I mean, still got one of his pans stacked there. And yeah, that instrument is just one of the most amazing to me. It's not, I want people to know, that's why I have it laced throughout this Sankofa thing too, because they think of it as a novelty when they only hear it at, you know, weddings, or when they go, oh, I think of the islands. No, I mean, this is a real instrument like xylophone or anything else. It's chromatic. You can play anything. You can play any style. But we're so, you know, we usually, you know, think about it when you would go to the islands or Jamaica or, you know, Trinidad and Tobago kind of thing. So, but yeah, that's one of my favorite instruments. Still learning how to play it. You know, I'm trying to fuse it in live a little bit more, but it's such a temperamental instrument. You got to watch it in the cold, you know, in heat, you know, it detunes, that kind of thing. So I would have to have a dedicated tech just for that. I used to take it out with mint, and it would get, you know, like we did the Black College tours. Yeah, I had it out there, and it was really tough. Yeah, because like, when you do this, and you have it set up backwards, I'm like, no, man, this is, you know, because you know, most folks don't know it's foreign to them, you know. Yeah. But it's one of my favorite instruments, and I love putting it in spaces and places that you wouldn't usually hear it.
Well, and that's one of the things I love about Sankofa, because Sankofa in many ways as an album is such a soundtrack to all of the things that you're talking about and all the instruments you play. And what I love about the way that the album starts off with almost an interlude that kind of puts you into it, but there's steel drums in it. But then there's steel drums in then the first song, which is Vibrant, which is your song with Snoop, but it starts with kind of that where you don't think of Snoop and steel drums together. No. But you made that work,
right. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that's a space that I'm like, where people, I want them to get used to hearing it, you know, that way. I think it would be great, you know. It's just a fabulous instrument that I've always loved, and I'm so proud and to be representing that. Yes, the Yankees representing Pan. That's what they call you. Americans who play the Yankee. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Love it. You called that many times.
Yankee.
Yeah.
So, hey, listen, I just want to remind everybody that are just tuning in. We're talking to Stokely. Stokely has a new project that is going to drop in about 2.5 hours on everywhere that you can get your music. It's called Sankofa. It is absolutely an amazing album. We've already had a bunch of people weigh in, you know, like Stevie Wonder, who's commented on the record. Rodney Jerkins commented on the record. I mean, there's already people that are just coming into it and just raving about it that have heard it already. You will all get a chance to hear it tonight. But actually, the cool thing is you won't actually have to wait all the way until 9 o'clock West, 12 o'clock East when it comes out, because right after our broadcast right here today, you can go to Woke with Stoke. And Woke with Stoke, he will play the album for you, and not only play the album for you, but comment about the songs and the way they came together and all those kinds of things. So this is just the appetizer for that. It's gonna be a Sankofa weekend.
Sankofa weekend.
We're gonna do some things on Clubhouse.
Yes.
So if you really want to dig into the album, this is the weekend to do it, and we're going to have some fun and really celebrate everything great about Stokely and everything great about, you know, like I said, our 30 years together, our Perspective Records 30 years together, and it's going to be a wonderful weekend. So thank everybody for tuning into this, And let me go to an audience question here, and then we'll get some more stuff. Going back to the very beginning of Perspective Records, somebody said would love to hear you talk a little bit about the early days of Jelly Bean Johnson discovering Mint and bringing them to Perspective Records. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes. So how this happened is, we were never a group we didn't play top 40. We played. It was all in, you got some originals. That's what we used to call it. Like, you got some originals. You know what I mean?
Right.
Back in the day. So we were that kind of group. We're just interested in creating ourselves. So that limited our gigs. So had special events. Did a ton of showcases. Outside parks and that kind of thing. People would hire us for. Wouldn't really hire. We were just playing for no money, just because we wanted to play. And so one of those showcases, we found there was a guy named Pete Rhodes who put on the Black Musicians Awards here. Yeah. And Pete and Kimberly Rhodes, the hats off, kudos to him, his brother. Without him,
absolutely.
He put so many people on. So we were on one of those shows, and there's so many things. At the time, Sylvia Rohn, who was Andre Simone's sister, was managing us at the time, and we were rehearsing down on, was it 4th and 4th, 5th and 5th in Minneapolis. I remember one of the rehearsals I remember, we were rehearsing and used to drive a Corvette. We said, that's Jimmy Jam down there. And he was like, we were way up. We were like, Jam. Yeah, I can't remember what color it was, but I remember that we rehearsed.
It was two-tone brown, actually. It was like a kind of a gold and kind of a brown. It was like a two-tone.
Okay, yeah.
I remember.
Yes,
I remember that car. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, remember that. So you came and you were just kind of driving past. I don't know. We just stuck our head at that exact moment. So all this stuff I'm thinking about, I'm like, how does that even happen? So at that time we were rehearsing there, and Pete Rhodes came to see us. Sylvia Rohn had invited him, and he was quiet for a minute, and I was like, okay, these guys are next. So we ended up on his show. You all were there. I think the Jets were on there. We had some crazy ass outfits. It was nuts. Yep. And then I remember one of the best things that we were told came from Terry. And Sylvia asked, well, what do you think? And I think Terry's like, well, they need work.
Yeah, sound like me. Sound like me. Sound like me.
And that's one of the best things that we could hear, because it's like, you look at that, not that we thought we were everything, just that we were looking for feedback. We was like, okay, we got the feedback. All right, let's go back in the woodshed, But that is the kind of, I'm used to that kind of coaching, that kind of those teachers and those mentors like that. That's the thing that got me to where I'm at right now. Just, say what it is, man, so I can go home and work on it. And we just kind of, that was my train of thought. I have 3 things I was going to say. So after Pete Rhodes down there, so we saw you there. And then after that, some time had passed. We do the First Avenue showcase. We invite you. We invited MCA Records. They were here for some reason. And we invited Paisley. And first song we used to start out was Pretty Brown Eyes back then. We used to start, God, because it would get people's attention. It's like,
yes. Yep.
What is and so same thing happened, and I remember walking outside, and you guys were on the other side of the street, and you were like, good job, Stoke. I was like, oh, all right, talk next week or something to that effect. I was like, okay. And a few weeks later, a month later, whatever it was, end up we're in at the New Flight Time out in France Avenue, and like, what y'all want to do? We're like, yeah, we want to record and make our own albums, and that whole thing. So, and that's pretty much how it started, man. And just a wonderful, amazing, you guys, and just to be aligned with you all at the time. It's like you would done so much stuff with SOS, and everybody, Janet, of course, and it was a magical time to be around there in the building, and just, it was very electric, and it was just gifts that just kept giving. A lot of the sessions that I had and people that I had met, was from people was like, I didn't know what session that was for who. It would just be like, either one of you would say, percussion tonight, whatever, or background, or where you at? Where's Stokley at? you're not coming in whatever studio, A, B, C, D, and yeah, I mean, had the opportunity to hop on a lot of these songs and everything. So, yeah, man, kudos to y'all. Thank you again. I mean, the opportunity is just, this is cyclical. You know what I mean? Yeah. I really appreciate it. So,
the opportunity wasn't given; you earned it. So it wasn't frivolously given. I mean, you are a master. Like you do what you do very well. So you earn the right to be in that number. And the now defunct building, it's actually defunct. It's defunct. It's out of here. But it was such a special building, and people always ask me a lot about how do you feel about the building being torn down. I said, well, I could think of better uses for it, but it's going to go for families to have a place to stay, and I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. But they said, well, that was a special building. I said, no, the building was cool. It was the people in the building that made the building pop. That's the soul of the building was the people, man. We had such beautiful people in there, and you guys contributed a lot of that energy into that building, man. So we definitely appreciate that and honor that, going forward and in history. So as you say, you got to look back to look ahead, and that's why we're glad you came home, man, and gave us the honor of doing Sankofa with you, man. This is a beautiful thing.
It's another blessing again, man. You couldn't have written this better. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Well, your family legacy spills all over everything that we've done.
Yeah.
Your father actually helped to name the Sounds of Blackness.
Yes.
And give them their corporate mandate. Because when Sounds of Blackness started, they were just going to be sounds of something else and all these other things. And he said, no, that you're not building a group, you're building an institution. And today, 40 years later, they are an institution. They've been around longer than most of the people that are probably listening right now.
And, 50-year anniversary this year.
It's 50 this year.
50 this year. 50.
Okay.
This year.
Wow.
Well, I lost 10 in there.
It's 40. It's 40 for the time this year.
That's
40 for the time
was 40 years.
This is true.
Wow.
This is true.
Wow.
Man, I lose track of time, man, because I'm looking ahead always. I look
back ahead to find your way.
I only look back to kind of check on it. It's okay. But your father contributed a lot. And actually, he used to teach at North High, which is my alma mater. We used to actually supply classes for North High. So college courses at North High with your father teaching. And that was just a magnificent program that we had going on there, man. And it would be the number one class in the school.
Yep. And he loved that too. It's like, man, this was really amazing just to see the children would just light up. For them to have that opportunity and for him to have that opportunity as well. I mean, just to, to help mold young minds at that age is really, really important, because you got to get them when they're young, and that age is it's tricky. Those teenage, all those hormones running around and you got all these just impulsive energies. Like, hold on, wait a minute, delayed gratification. Like, nah, man, I'm trying to turn up, man. You know what I mean? All of that, catch point where it's really important. But that was really important time for him as well. I definitely know that. So thank you all for that. Yeah, man.
But a lot of people don't think because there's so few of us Black folk in Minneapolis, St. Paul, especially back then.
Right.
They don't think of us as being progressive or Afrocentric or even understanding of heritage, which is not true. We are actually probably more hyper than people other places that are always in the Blackness.
Right.
Because we always had to fight to even make sure our Blackness was represented because it was never a part of our normal culture.
For sure. I mean, for sure, go that extra mile because we are in the Midwest, which there's a lot of our European brothers and sisters. I mean, this is what it is. So we had to be loud. Go that extra mile because it's like not many of us here. They had that small community, and I always tell people, it's like, man, I was fortunate enough to be around when we were doing Kwanzaa before it became popular. You know what I mean? Right, where we go to everybody's houses and celebrate that and learn about the 7 principles of Nguzo Saba and all that whole thing, you know. And now I'm like, wow, this is funny. It's amazing what it's become. But that's when nobody barely, you know, knew about it. And like all those principles were instilled in me and a lot of other children, you know. And it's really important to have that at a younger age, you know. So again, those are the things that help shape me, you know. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. So let's talk about this new album.
Yeah.
And we talked earlier about collaboration. So when you talk about collaborations, there's a lot of them on this album. A few may be familiar to people, but a few may be like, wait, who's that? Wait, who is that? But talk about the collaborations on the album. And I'll just let people know it's because I had to make a list myself. So we'll start with H.E.R because H.E.R is H.E.R is H.E.R.
Yeah.
I mean, what can
H.E.R is H.E.R.
She's H.E.R.
And I remember
she's H.E.R.
Yeah, she's H.E.R. But I remember what I remember, and I was looking at this the other day, couple of years, well, it's been almost a couple of years ago now, at Soul Train Awards where Terry and I got honored. You performed She, which ended up being your first #1 record, which was pretty amazing. But you performed that at the awards, and I remember we were sitting right next to her, and she was just, I've never seen a fan so entranced with watching your performance as we all were. Talk a little bit about, you know, how that all came together. And somebody asked in the questions the difference between making a record in 91 and 2001, obviously nowadays, which is a lot different, and certainly through the COVID season. So if you have any thoughts on that, but talk about the H.E.R collaboration.
So H.E.R is amazing. First of all, I love and champion women who are doing all of that. You know, that needs to happen. As a musician, a producer, as a singer, a songwriter, I think she's the future, you know, and she's just getting started. She's just now getting comfortable. You can tell with herself, her vocal, her presence. I love that. I like watching the growth. So I mean, definitely a fan for it since the beginning. So a little bit of background with Jeff Robinson, who used to manage Alicia Keys.
Lord Jeff.
Lord Jeff. Yeah, the man. And so we knew Jeff, and for a short time, they managed Mint as well. Jeff. So knew them from that. I can't even remember the song, but he sent me a song. He said, I have this young artist, man, and she's you know, classically trained and that kind of thing. Guitar, plays keys, that whole thing. And I'm gonna sing you this song and put some vocals on it, whatever, blah blah blah. I don't know what nothing ever came with the song. I don't remember, but I thought when I heard that, I was like, who's the girl? It was H.E.R. It's like, oh, she's really great, man. Blah blah blah. This is wonderful. But she said she wants to make sure that the music is forefront, not the image. You know, that's why the whole silhouette thing she started out with. I was like, I think that's cool. You know, let the music speak for itself. So I've always been into that and been into her energy, the sound of it. She's got this really wavy, mysterious, really way that her delivery is. You know, so that drew me in. And I mean, she's been on my wish list. I'm like, this young lady right here. I'm like, yeah, this needs to happen. You know, so with the Wale's assistance as well. And man, it's just, but we were already fans of each other. You know, I really thank her for, you know, all the kind things she said about, you know, my voice and the work with Mint. And so she sent over a song. I was like, okay, yeah, let's see if we can collaborate. And I put my little sprinklings on it, and she had her stuff on it. And, you know, so we have the song Rush. And Rush is going to be a rush to your head when you hear it, y'all. It's amazing. You know? It's sexy. It's sexy. It's so absolutely. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Talk about some other ones on here. Let's skip. Let's talk about Snoop, because Snoop is obviously a huge fan of yours.
Oh man.
And I know that's a mutual thing. Talk about Snoop, and he's actually on two songs on the album.
Yes, yes. So Snoop is Snoop, of course. We always say Snoop for president. I know Terry says that. You know, he's just everywhere. And you know, I love his story. This community is infectious. you know, he just has that really positive spirit, that positive vibe. And what's funny is this track, I actually, and it just goes testament, you know, a good song is a good song, a good, you know, sometimes it's too early. Obviously it has a 90s slant to it, you know, that kind of, you know, roller skating, which I used to do, which I missed. And I just did what I loved and what I missed. So
by
this
the way,
track,
somebody in the comments just put Jimmy Jam used to go to the roller gardens.
Wait a minute.
Speaking of skating,
You used to DJ there though, did you? Did you DJ?
I used to DJ
Yes.
at the roller gardens,
Yes,
and I used
yes,
to play the organ at the roller gardens. So
get out of here.
Oh yeah.
Shut up.
I did. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah. No. Yeah. No, man. I love the roller gardens. That was my day. That was like 50. I was probably 15 years old about that time. 14, 15, 16 that year. Yeah. I love the roller gardens. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but you mentioned skating,
that was
and then
the
I saw
spot,
that,
man.
that comment
No.
across.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the I just, like I said, did what I loved, did what I missed. And that track that track is actually like 12 years. Oh, I had actually originally did it for this sample company. And I did a bunch, it was like 30 or 40 things. You have to separate the tracks and all that kind of thing. Nothing ever happened to that. But there were some really gems that stood out. I was like, that was one of them. I kept that, you know, it didn't work for certain things. Like, no, not yet. And when it time, you know, finally put some vocals on it. And the only person I heard it felt like was Snoop. That's it. You know, I remember playing it from my band and like, well, you know who should get on here? I didn't say anything. You need to get Snoop. I'm like, it's unanimous. I mean, my head was in the right spot. And of course, you know, called him, and it's, you know, two different things were happening. You know, I think before then, or we would, who know other people who know them, you know, different artists. I think a lot of times that's what happens. And with this, I think at the time, there was a couple of times where he's like, hey, I love what you do, man. He would, you know, play some of his stuff on IG, some immense stuff. And I DM'd him back, yo, man, you know how we all feel about you, that kind of thing. So came time for the Sankofa, this whole thing. It was just a natural merging of the two worlds, you know. And he came in, of course, it was out there in LA at y'all's studio. He heard what we got cooking. What's up, cuz? Put it on. And he's like, oh, this is easy. Oh, this is me. He's like, yeah. Like, I mean, this is, you know, it was perfect. You just slid right in there, man. And, you know, easy breezy, man. It's exact what you hear is his personality, and he's electric, man. You know,
he was so fast. I couldn't believe how fast he did it.
He numbered his lines. I'm like, well, he's like, I'm old school, baby. You know, let me number my lines so I don't know where I'm at.
Yep.
It's absolutely fast. And I guess, you know, he's been doing it so long. It's just like, you know, he ain't even thinking about it. He's like, what else? What's next? Okay, you know. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. But he hit it, as you know. We were all in there like, we were trying to figure out what more can we have him do?
Exactly.
You know. It was so quick. Yeah, man. But amazing, you know. And then also with so the second song on there, Jeopardy Verbalize, came about. He has a lowrider project, and he contacted me. See, I have this thing called 70s, and he loves you know, all the old vocal group stylistics, and you know, all these temporaries and all these old groups. And I was like, okay, that's the vibe. Okay. And so without him, you know, having that project, that other song wouldn't have come about, because it was for that project. So we just kind of cross promoting, and he's on there a little bit. So yeah, man, hats off to Snoop. For inspiring me to come up with one. Yeah.
I was going to say the inspiration is absolutely amazing. There's an artist that we talk about, Sankofa, and you can't be more authentic than this. You actually went to Ghana and collaborated with Kitty, who's you know, a great artist from Ghana, and then had the video directed by a Ghanaian director.
Rex.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about that, because I don't think people probably have the insight on that and how amazing that is.
What's really amazing about that is people think that this was all the, you know, well, the plan of me is like he had everything mapped out. This was God's plan. Like, I didn't know, you know, Sankofa naming it I'd be going, it just so happened. The Ghanaian term means go back and get it. I was able, had the opportunity, and thank you all for that too, making that happen, to go to Ghana, Accra, for the first time. Really excited. I knew there was going to be more than the videos. Definitely going to be a spiritual experience. You know what I mean? Just from everything in my background, everything that I've come from, it means so much. So I'm still unpacking it. It's overwhelming to get there. It's one thing to read about it, to hear about these things, and people that are even from these different, countries in Africa, but to experience it yourself is a whole different vibration. It's a different thing, man. I mean, to take all that energy with you, to hear the languages, to smell the food, to hear the music, to see the colors of how we naturally dress and why we're so colorful and why we're so resilient, why we're so creative. I'm like, wow, I started to make all these connections. I'm like, wow, this is a real thing. This is why, and we don't even know why we do certain things. I remember, like, when I would see I used to be like, I put my drums away for a little bit in the early 80s. I was a b-boy for like a couple years. I wasn't doing nothing like that. So, but I remember seeing a lot of dances and coming from the African dance troupe days. And still today, I'll see certain things. It's like, wow, they have no idea what they're doing. It's dope, here, dances that may see. I saw some of that back there, and I'm like, this is so crazy, man. It's like that heritage is so deep. There's so much that I saw and experienced. The first night, like I said, I couldn't make this up. The first night I landed, I'm in a drum circle with these dancers and playing. I mean, I was just floating. I couldn't even believe that was happening. I mean, this is the real deal. I was like, I don't know the rhythms. You're going to have to say, don't worry, man. He's tapping it out. Right. Trying to mimic what he's got me doing. It's like, it was just amazing, and just floating. And it's, I actually had to I live streamed some of it. Some of you might have saw that on IG. Just amazing. And then just the whole trip was like that, just gift after gift after gift. And the other thing, which was really cool, is everywhere I went was like, welcome back, welcome home, brother, welcome home. How does it feel? And each space has their own, whatever their music is, whatever is popular. Afrobeats over there is the thing, as we know. And so I would go to, radio station after radio station after radio station. And the way they do it, a lot of times you put on the record and they'll have you kind of rock to it, sing to it, whatever. And they're like, we haven't learned a lot of really true American R&B here. But there's something different, And I said, guess what, man? All I'm doing is just spitting back what we are. You know what I mean? It's a reflection of you. So we went through another something over there. I'm bringing this back, so, but it's all you, it's all us. So I thought that was really interesting. They're like, oh man, that's so true. But we were all discovering things together, just me. They want us there. They want people to know who they are, Ghanaians, or Nigerians, or whatever it is, over there. It's like, man, it was just amazing. Like I said, I'm overwhelmed with still trying to figure out. I was trying to journal. I couldn't even keep up because I wanted to be in the moment and stay engaged. And that was taking me away just a little bit. I'm like, I gotta, but yeah, it was really amazing trip, man. I have to go back, and I made some awesome connections, and it just strengthened my resolve, strengthened my, just my roots. Just things made sense. I got to do this, the African ancestry. I want to do that next. I definitely want to find out. It has me more interested in trying to figure out what tribe, what language, Curious. Yeah, but amazing trip. I urge anyone to go and touch down there and just feel that for a little bit, where we filmed, I'll say too, is it a place they have castles and they have forts. And this was a fort we were at, the woman video. And it was called Meta Cross Fort. And there were 2 rooms where they held like 75 slaves for 3 months until the ships came. And there was like this little hole in the top where they would just lower down water for 75 people. They would stay there. This wasn't like prison where you get an hour out. You're 3 months until the boats came. So just like, and it's a small room. Just blow your mind. I mean, just everything that I saw there was just I had to take that in. And just it's pretty heavy. And then of course the door of no return is, and he showed, after you come out of those rooms, you go, and whatever ship you're on, you go, and you never see. It was really, really deep. It was beautiful. It was mind blowing, and yeah, man, I can't wait to go back. You know, and I think it definitely helped put the kiss on this Sankofa. You know, it just couldn't have wrote this. Yeah,
that's great of you to share that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I will say once again, Sankofa is the album. It is about 2 hours away from actually being available for you to buy. But before it becomes available for you to buy, in about a little over a half hour from now, you will be able to hear Sankofa and not only hear the album, but actually hear Stokely talk about the album, because he's the one who's going to play the album.
yeah.
And it's on his Woke with Stoke and it's on Twitch. Is that right?
It's going to be on Twitch and Facebook simultaneously. Yeah. So whichever one, pick your choose your pick. Yeah.
Okay. Both places. Okay, we like that too.
Yes.
So we're just the appetizer for that, and we're going to go into a Sankofa weekend. And there's going to be a lot of other events. Keep your eyes and ears peeled. We're planning on doing a clubhouse over the weekend, probably on Saturday. So watch out for that. But a lot of great things. Staying on the subject of Africa for just a minute.
Yeah.
You were involved with Coming to America, Eddie Murphy's movie, Coming to America 2, with the
Soul Glow. Soul Grow. That's right.
Soul Grow. That's right. That's what it was.
Grow.
Right?
Yeah. Amazing. That was crazy. So glad and honored to be a part of such an iconic movie. I mean, this is the story. I mean, Eddie, come on. That it's what's funny about trying to take after take, because the lyrics were so hilarious. I couldn't get through some of the lines. It was like, what? It was just hilarious, and but a lot of fun. The comments were it's like, man, it's so funny and so amazing at the same time. There were both things happening, but it was the weird energy. But I'm so glad to be a part of it, and yeah, man, people that heard it really love it. It's like, man, it's like, is that you? It kind of sounds like you. They couldn't figure it out. It's like, yeah. Then they seen the movie. It's like, oh man, it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Eddie loved it, man. He said it. And Stokely make it sound like a real song. Eddie's crazy.
That's funny.
Yeah, he asked me. He said, "Man, what Stokely be taking, man?" He said, usually dudes this age, man, be walking around barefoot on a carpet. I said, man, I don't know, man. Young enough to love, I guess.
I guess so.
That's funny. Yeah, man. Yeah, that was great. Thank him for that. Thank y'all for that. Absolutely, man.
Let me ask you about one other collaboration on your album.
Yeah.
This one goes back. I think you were part of one of his first hits, and that's Wale.
Mm-hmm. I'm a man, Wale. Yeah, so Wale was a big fan of Mint. In Mint, in the DMV area is very near and dear to our hearts, because that's the place that helped break us. You know what I mean? When that Winnebago tour on the HBCUs and Howard University, and I mean, so anytime you go down, these folks, man, that's family. Found a wife there. You know what I mean? That's what can you say about that? Yeah, man. And so grew up through mint condition music and that whole sound, and we were able to link up when he was doing the Gifted album, and wanted me to produce, and along with some other amazing writers and producers. And yeah, man, we just clicked in the studio in Atlanta. And the thing about Wale is he's such a poet. He's so it's just amazing. He's a different kind of rapper. He's not afraid to rap over live music, because he comes from go-go. I mean, that's what they do all day. So he's he's right up in there. So he's like, where is it at? Where the drums at? Where the horns at? You know what I mean? It's cool. The trap thing is cool. He can do all those things. So he flirts between these different worlds, which is what I really dig. And lyrically, he's a beast. You know, sometimes it's over people's head. You got to, but I like that personally. It's like, you know, make you think about it. Sometimes I don't like it so on the nose. That's nice. You know, that's cool. You can do that. I love music like that too. But sometimes I make you think about it. Oh wow, the way he flipped that phrase is crazy. You know what I mean? So he does a lot of that, and glad to be a part of the Gifted album. And that did extremely well. You know, and just really hats off to, you know, shout out to Brother Wale. You know, he's doing something else. We were talking about actually doing the Go-Go CD, me being a part of that, which would be right up my alley. So I mean, I'd be excited for that. You know, but he's on this one on a song called Cafe. And he ripped it. You know, this is one of, he called me like 5 times and was texting me, right, bro, this is my favorite song of the year. Man, yo, this got to be the next single, man. This is the best thing I've done. You know, matter of fact, there were some people that were, when he was recording, it's like, you need to be doing this kind of stuff. While, you know, it was just pretty amazing. So he was really, really geeked about this song, as I am too. I mean, that's one of my favorite on the album, actually. I can't wait for people to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, so well, people don't know the songs yet on the album, but is there? Yeah, what are your favorite songs? Do you have favorite songs on the album, or ones that you want to point out for people to hear? And of course, you'll do this more in depth later, as I mentioned before on Woke with Stoke. But is there any that you feel really like? Let me hear this.
It's, you know, it's hard because as you all know, it's like, you know, what's your favorite finger? You know, I guess which one ever I got to use is important at the time. If I got a point, then this one. Yeah. You know. So if I'm in a dancing mood or something like that, probably Vibrant or something like that. Yeah. Real sexy, sensual kind of thing, Cafe or Rush. If I'm in kind of a real spicy kind of anti mood, then maybe there's a song called Recipe on there.
You know who I just spoke to earlier today was you know Stephen Hill, right?
Yes, yeah.
So Stephen Hill, matter of fact, I'll tell you exactly what he said, because he texted me about the album. He sent me, and he was saying that that was his song. Now I can't even find it. But anyway, he was saying that that's his song. And like everybody who I've sent the album to, like everybody comes back with different songs, and that's what I always love on an album. Yeah. Where everybody is finding things that they like. Yeah. By the way, you also on the album, which I love, and Terry, we were talking about this the other day, you have a couple of songs that are basically instrumentals.
Yes.
On the album that I think are so brilliantly done.
Thank you.
But talk about that from the musician side, man. Just having things, because I remember growing up, man, there used to be instrumental songs and they were just the jams.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I love that you're bringing that back. Talk a little bit about that, though.
It's Barry White, Walter Murphy, all these different people, man. It's like that's. You know, we used to skate to these jams. Wasn't no words. It was that. I mean, those were the words. It's just the music, the harmony, the melodies, and so I'm just doing all the things that I love. Again, going back to my childhood, things that brought me here, things that I love, and I think other people may love too. You know, because what's old is new again. We're at this point again, and it's, you know, that's been gone. Everybody's talking. There's a lot of traffic out here. There's a lot of lyric. There's a lot of different. So I'm like, you know, let's let the music play and speak for itself. So I miss that. The Trent Cootsy, it was like, what does that even mean? What is it? You know, so
yeah. Love that.
There's one called Trent Cootsy, which is like it's a merging of 2 words, you know, Trinidad, of course, in a rhythm called Bukutsi, which is a Cameroonian dance music. And so it's got steel pan in there, of course. And then the beat is like the Bukutsi kind of thing. And it was inspired by the end cycle on my dryer. And it was just one little phrase. And then I like, every time it would go off, I would finish the phrase. And like 4 bars later, it's like, you know, oh, this is a chord change here. This, da 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 da. You know, I just finished the whole phrase. And yeah, man, that Homecoming is like this merging of this funky kind of African Minneapolis, Fela, you know, all that, you know, all the stuff that I talked about hearing when I'm growing up, when I'm hearing all this music in the house, and it's like all that stuff is just coming out. You know, it's like Fela and Prince or something like that, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's totally the vibe.
Yeah.
By the way, you mentioned Prince, and I've seen a lot of comments in the and I think you can't mention Minneapolis and the Minneapolis sound and Minneapolis music without mentioning Prince, but he certainly was instrumental in your life and a huge fan of yours. But talk a little bit about Prince. I know he was one of the people that was very influential and about you when you decided to go solo early on.
Yeah.
And later on, by the way, and later on, of course, you ended up singing with the Revolution and doing a lot of dates with them.
Right.
So there's a whole through line there that's interesting.
Crazy.
We should touch upon before you get out of
here. Yeah. That was crazy. But yeah, he was always really generous with us, with me, and just with his time. You know, funny thing, he would call just, you know, how he was. He'd call on any minute. You could have a tour lined up and all that. You guys come out this weekend? We got gigs this week and we can't. Like, what about next week? It's like, okay, just give us some lead time and we're good. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he was like that, and then took us over to Europe with him, you know, Madison Square Garden. We were in a bunch of different places. You know, he's just like, I want everybody to know you guys, you know. When he did his long-standing nights at the Forum, you know, he had a bunch of different musicians play. Just amazing. Whereas one night, my biggest thing I always say is I miss is just the discussions with him. Just amazing. Just, you know, just about life, whatever. And we're sitting in Paisley one time, and he's like, you know, we're talking about everything. And he just kind of quiet for a few seconds, like, can I ask you something? I was like, yeah. It's like, why haven't you done something like on your own? I love the group and how. I said, well, actually, I'm in the middle of it. He was like, his eyes got big and was like, can I be a part of it? I was like, what? Of course, man. I was like, you know, like his musical DNA is I got it's everywhere. So, like I always say, it was one of the greatest things that never happened. But I know his stamp, his energy. Dude, you know, he's I mean, just one of these people that come around in life, man. So much influence on so many people. He just did so much so well for so long, you know what I mean, and then spread it out
for so many.
I mean, for so many. There you go. I mean, who does that? I mean, this is pretty amazing, man. He affected so many people. You can say whatever you want about him, but the dude was just a unique spirit on this earth, man. And, you know, it's a gift that keeps giving, and his music will outlast all of us, you know, truly. But really, he's, you know, and I'm sure you all know too, better than I, he's one of these cats, man. You just once in a lifetime, you know, once in a lifetime. So, yeah.
Yep. You can't say that enough.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So I'm really fortunate that I was able to hang out with them and, you know, joking. I mean, just so many great moments, you know. Just one thing I will say, I was really surprised that he was as open with me as he was, you know, because you hear all rumors and all these different things. I'm like, wow, he was very, just some stuff I'd be like, what? Like, okay. But I'm glad that he felt that comfortable.
Do you know why though?
I think, you know, people have told me, it's like, you know, you're not around or something like that, and you're not. It's just like maybe probably I didn't work for him.
No, that might be a small part of it, but I'm going to tell you why he gave you that love. Is just because he had a mutual respect for you, because you are that dude. Like you are a musician's musician. You know that got him going. He just wanted that energy around him because it's just like being around kids helps you feel younger.
Right. Yeah.
Well, a musician that is always the best musician always loves when a greater musician or as good a musician comes around because it pushes them to another level. And he just wanted that energy in the house. It's the same reason he liked us being in the house. Because we pushed him to another level.
Right.
We made him work. And it was never, you know, never a thing about that. It was, you know, everybody was doing their thing. But yeah, we all bowed down to him because you know he was the teacher. But every now and then you need somebody to come in and see the back of your head. You just need a barber. You need somebody to push you, to encourage you, to get in that ass a little bit to let you know that I got to get back on my axe.
Yeah, back on that grind, man.
Yeah, you got to do that. So he loved that about you, man, because you are a class A person, no drama, and you are all about the music, which is what he loved most. So he loved having that spirit around, man.
Yeah. I received it. No, it's funny. I love there's one he would always talk about you guys as far as the time. The way he would tell it was just so funny. It's like, Stokely, the only band I've really been afraid of is the time. I mean, really, I had to go home. I couldn't let them play in New York. It was too much. I was like, wow, it was too much. This is him telling me this. I'm like, it was too much. I just, my manager said, what are you going to do? It's like, it's too much. I can't. I was like, wow. And I remember that tour. And y'all was in that ass.
We were trying every night.
Oh, my Lord. That was, that's the only thing you could do. Because, damn, that was... Anybody seen that? I'm sure some people in the chat seen that. I'm like, God, what is? Yeah, but yeah, I loved hearing it from his mouth. It was just really amazing, that kind of respect that he had. Like you're talking about, Terry, for you all, and he keeps that kind of energy around him. After a while, after he was, because I look at, we talk about the revolution, and that was a unique experience for me too. And never in a million years did I thought I was like, what? I was like, what am I doing here? This dude, where are you? This is weird. It was a weird, beautiful experience, and, like there was a lot of people who had that position. And my thing was, don't try to be him, be you. My thing was just, you're in the spirit of him, right. So just in the spirit of, and you deliver it how you deliver, whatever your voice sounds like, however your body moves, that's what you do. And I think it'll come off authentic. The feedback that I got, it was, pretty authentic. I wasn't trying to be him because nobody's him in a million years. That's just not going to happen, But, hearing all the stories from them as well was really interesting. It was like, with the revolution, he was in the band. After that, he was the band leader, and he, had all these amazing people around him. So to speak to what you're saying, Terry, about keeping all these amazing talents and people around him, that's very true. Just amazing people, amazing drummers and horn players and bass players. I mean, everybody. It's just amazing. So yeah, one of these spirits, man, we just always bow down to, for sure.
Yeah. Well, once again, he loved seeing the next generation. And that was always important to him, making sure that music, the legacy would continue to grow so that the new crop would come up the right way.
Yeah.
And so he kept always telling people. I remember him telling us, he said, you guys are going to go tour. He said, you're not going to put anything in Pro Tools, are you? No, he said, no, you have to play. You can't put things in Pro Tools. That's like, well, that was like, a taboo, like, break out the cross,
Right.
He was all about that music, man.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, he's the reason that we're all sitting here. And there's not a day that goes by in our lives that we're not trying to please him. We hope that he's proud of what we're doing. And we always want to carry his legacy forward in the best possible way. And I think I will say that this album, for us and our involvement with you, Stokely, is to me part of the seeds that Prince planted.
Absolutely.
And we continue to grow. And it's been, it's such a proud moment for us, like I say, to be part of this project with you, and to have you a part of our live stream tonight. This is literally, as I say, the appetizer for this Sankofa weekend. And after this, we're going to let you go and get ready for Woke with Stoke. Tell everybody where they can see that tonight. And is that at 7:30? It's 7:30 our time. Is that right?
Yeah, 7:30 Pacific Standard, 9:30 Central Standard, and 10:30 Eastern. Yeah.
Perfect.
If you're on Mountain Time, I don't know what Mountain's doing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't tell you. Just get in where you fit in. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. But literally, everybody, when you get out of here, 15 minutes later, because we'll let Stokely go and prepare for that. but you will get a chance to hear the Sankofa album. So you'll get a chance to hear what we're talking about. Stokely will literally play the album for you and explain the songs and all of that. And when he's done doing that, at 9 o'clock West, 12 o'clock East, it is available. I know a lot of you can pre-save it right now. So you don't even have to worry about, oh, I forgot to get it. Pre-save it right now on wherever you get music, Spotify, Apple, Tidal, anywhere you get music, Amazon. It's available to pre-save it now, pre-order it now, Sankofa. And then at midnight tonight on the East Coast, 9 o'clock on the West Coast, the album will be there and you'll have a chance to listen to it. But you'll get a chance to listen to it in an informed way if you go to Woke with Stoke and have Stoke explain it to you. So now you'll get the whole education and you start your weekend right. And I will add to that, then tomorrow on Friday, I know there's some other things that are happening, but amongst them, if you want to see a live performance of Sankofa on BET tomorrow night is the Phoenix Awards. And Stokely, I know you performed that on the Phoenix Awards. Talk about doing that song live, the title track Sankofa live.
Yeah, that was the first time I did, and it's I think very apropos, for what it is, and it's like I just want people to feel that song, to hear it, and I think I just loved performing it, and I think it was went over well. I'm hoping you all think so. But yeah, man, I mean, just again putting that message forward, because this album, this project is bigger than me. It's a reflection of all of us, and I think I want it to resonate that way. In the gift that keeps giving. The more you keep digging, that's why I call it sonic art. You look at a visual art piece, it's like, oh, you hear it one time, or you see something, you look at it this way, oh, I never seen that before. Same thing. If you get in the car, you hear one thing. If you put some earbuds on, you hear another thing. If you're in a big concert, you hear, you know what I mean? So I want you to be able to appreciate it, in that way. Whether you're doing what I call engaged listening, whether you're sitting down like we used to listen back in the day just to listen to an album, or whether you're running or cleaning up or cooking, however you receive it, I think you're going to see some different things. You're going to feel something different. And that's the intention, to really, I look at this, some people say that now you have all of these, this fast food. And I look at this as a 3-star Michelin meal. It's like you got your fork, you got about 3 waiters over here, you know what I mean? So you sit down and it's just like, it's an hour and 10. I know people are like, it's a long album, people don't pay attention. I get that. I think those people will catch on maybe later on. And I just wanted to do something once I consider, I always say a success when it's out of me, and it's out. I think it's a success. For you, you have to do whatever it is, however that gets inside you and, transforms you into whatever it is that you're looking to do or be or elevate to. But as long as it's positive, that's what I'm trying to do, just uplift the consciousness. So I appreciate y'all. 9:30 Central Standard, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube.
Wow, you got all 3 of them.
And we have all 3 of them. Yeah. Simultaneous. Absolutely.
Y'all need some Sankofa in your life.
By the way, it works great. It works great. I'm gonna tell you what, I was listening to it the other day at the grocery store as I was shopping. Oh yeah. I had my earbuds in and I'm listening, and I know people thought I was nuts because I was grooving so hard, man. I know people were like, what is he listening to? So I'm telling you, it works. This is a soundtrack for everything, but it worked great for grocery shopping. I will tell you that. It's my favorite grocery shopping outlet.
And
I love it.
Super proud of you, brother.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I'm proud of y'all. What's crazy too, and I've been saying this in interviews, I'm doing what I'm doing right now, and then you all having as an artist, Jam and Lewis, 35 years later, sidetracked by all the success that you've had. I mean, that story is just amazing, and to be in tandem right now, it's just like you couldn't have written this. You know what I mean? Let's go
do some dates.
Really special. So
yes,
that's up to you, man.
Let's go on to it.
Yeah, I agree.
Come on, man.
Let's do some dates.
You ain't said nothing.
Let's do it.
You ain't said nothing slick to the can of oil.
That's right. All right. We know you got to roll, man. So
yeah, man. All right. So everybody, Woke with Stoke, and keep up, by the way, on all the social. Stokely Official, I know, is the Instagram. Right? Keep up with everything that's going on, because I'm telling you, there's a ton of stuff going on over the next three days, over the weekend, Sankofa weekend. Woke with Stoke coming up, album in about releases in about an hour and a half. You'll be able to get it everywhere. Tomorrow, the Phoenix Awards on BET. You'll see a live performance of that. I know there's some other things happening tomorrow, Stokely, with you. Saturday, it looks like we're going to be doing a clubhouse, so that we'll be celebrating and doing some things on that. But we want everybody to just have a blessed weekend and all of that. And Stokely, we'll see you again and hear you again real soon. But thank you so much for taking the time and doing Just Listen with Jam and Lewis. We appreciate you so much, man.
Thank you.
And everybody here, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube in 10 minutes from now. Woke from Stoke.
Right.
I mean, woke with Stoke. No, what's it called? Woke.
All of that. Woke with Stoke, from, with, all of it.
Yeah, all of it.
Woke with.
Yeah, all of it. Yeah.
All of it. All inclusive.
Woke with Stoke.
Sankofa at midnight.
That's right.
Sankofa at midnight. East Coast, 9 o'clock West Coast.
That's
10 o'clock Mountain Time.
Oh, man.
Hey,
go get that album.
Hey,
we love that album. That's a great album. That's Stokely.
That's right. That's Stokely.
That's what he be doing. Stroking.
That's
what he be doing. He be stroking.
So yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Let's hang up, and we'll see you.
We'll see everybody next week, and this will be available to watch. Come to our socials to catch everything you need. Woke with Stoke starts in 10 minutes.
That's right.
Sounds good. All right, y'all. All right.
And, all right. Don't forget the CDs are coming, baby.
Yep. CDs is coming. That's right. All right. All right, y'all. Be good.
All right, man.
All right, peace.